feel your touch.
Hey guys, can you hear me? All right. For those who don't know, my name is Gray Jabesi. On the internet, they call me Gray BTC. But for the sake of, to just make things clear, today my name has changed to Oga Gray. So if anyone addressed me as Gray BTC today or Gray Jabesi, I'm not responding to that. It's either Oga Gray or nothing. So thankful to be in Nigeria for the first time. If you're in crypto, this is part of the world that can never be ignored in crypto, blockchain, NFTs, whatever. So many ways how the Nigerian people use Bitcoin than anywhere else in the world. So it definitely makes sense for this to happen here. And shout out to Franklin and Boundless Pay and everyone else who has made this happen. And of course, shout out to everybody who is here. These guys have flown out from Dubai and everywhere else in the world to be here. So we got Kwame, we got Caldemon, we got Alex, we got Da Vinci. These are the top G's of Dubai and everywhere else in the world. So thankful for them to be here. So we're going to be discussing about the market, right? Everybody knows Bitcoin is great, but a lot of us are in it for the money before the technology, So everybody is concerned about the price action, what is happening, is this over? Or will there be a continuation of the market and things will continue to change? Now, I'm going to ask the panelists here what they think about what's happening now and how do they see the crypto market for the next 3 years? Is it worth getting into it at the moment? Are we going to see even a deeper dip? Or we have hit the bottom at the moment and we should expect a pump again? So I will take it from here. Kwame, you're going to introduce yourself and then give your insight.
Hi, everyone. What's the time? Good afternoon. Is Lagos in the house? This is not the Lagos I know. This is not the Lagos I know. Are you cold? I'm a ginger now. No be... Not really your portfolio, they die now. You see my portfolio. Calm down. All right, some energy is necessary. My name is Kwame. Nigeria is like my second home. Anybody knows me here? Yeah, I have some people here. I talk tech a lot, and in the last 6-7 years, I've been talking a lot of crypto. I have a small community that we're growing. And in the space, I do a couple of things. But I think the question that Gray asked, just to go straight to it, because that's why people are here. Has any of you been through a bear market before? Any of you? Anyone been here for like 5 years or more? 2017, 18? Let me see your hand. How do you feel about these people who are complaining now? How? What do you want to tell them? So I think the first thing that I want to speak about in terms of the market, maybe the second time I go a little bit more technical. But the first thing I want to talk about is, for someone like me, crypto is not do I get out or do I come back? Look, I lived with banking for 32 years of my life. I know what traditional finance can do. So whether Bitcoin is 1,000 or 2 CDs, I'm stuck. I'm not, if crypto dies, I follow them. We'll go grave together. So some of you have options. Should I get out? Where are you going? I don't have anywhere to go. So that's the first thing you need to think about, is understanding the technology and understanding the revolution it represents, to know that there is no should I go in, should I go out. Of course, there are times to go into stables and be safe. There are times to DCA. There are times to just cut your losses and know what to do. But I think the first thing is, don't look at this thing as an entry for all your, like Grace said, I know you're here for the money, but what we're building is far more too big for you to be thinking short term. The second thing is, I think probably in Africa, and I see a lot of this in Nigeria. Please forgive me. But I've been in projects that you guys have invested in, a lot of Nigerians have been in, and I've realized specifically for the African, especially West Africa, let me add the Ghanaians, we don't get time. Everything they in hurry, you understand? We need them tomorrow because tomorrow is not guaranteed. This is Lagos and Accra. We don't get time. Um, but the problem with that is you miss a lot. You know, the way crypto is, how many of you saw what happened with Shiba? Shiba Inu. Anybody miss it or catch it? So I got into Shiba in 2020 when Elon Musk tweeted Dogecoin for the second time. I bought $19 and got 1.3 billion. At this all-time high, that would have been worth $108,000. I sold at $500. Don't cry for me. It's fine. I've done the funeral. It's okay. But the point is, if you're not taking a long-term view, and Da Vinci is probably the best person to say this. In 2011, he told you buy $1 Bitcoin. It's 2022, 11 years later, he's here. After 11 years, you can't tell him anything. My appeal to you, man to man, Africa to African, Organaija to Organaija, and the women too, is the least you should look at anything you're doing in the space should be 5 years. Go through a cycle, come out, you see how it feels like. So maybe the mentality towards the market needs to change, and then it would let you move away from short-term price action to focus on long-term value, because that's what really it is. One Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. I don't care whether it's $100,000 or $20,000. If you understand the tech and what we're building, you will know one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. Thank you.
Yeah, Carl, you next. So for the sake of time, we should just keep our answers short. Right now, let's give everyone 2 minutes at a time. Now, Carl, you are very bullish on the technology as a whole. You know, you're an investor. I was very impressed. Was it 2 months ago? I was at Carl's office in Dubai. He was showing me around and we were doing an interview. I mean, he is investing all over the blockchain space, not only just creating content. He is bullish on the tech and how it's going. And at Da Vinci's meetup, not the previous one, the previous before the previous, somebody asked something about CeFi and DeFi and Bitcoin. So I consider Da Vinci more of a maxi, a BTC maxi. You're not. And you say that, you know, you had some money in the CeFi platforms, you understand the risk, but you know, it's good because you can generate passive income. Now, looking at what happened to Anchor and Luna and what's happening with Celsius right now, what's your take on those kind of CeFi platforms?
I'm Carl Runefeld. Thank you for having me. And I think there's always a place for centralized exchanges and decentralized exchanges.
Mm-hmm.
There's always going to be different risks with decentralized versus centralized. And I'm personally using both of them. I'm using centralized exchanges for convenience. If I want to execute a trade, quick swing trades or faster intraday trades, then obviously using a centralized exchange is way easier right now. But if I want to make money passively and provide liquidity into different liquidity pools, then decentralized exchanges are giving me that opportunity and I'm making great money from that. So pros and cons with everything, but there's a space for everything currently. However, in the next 10, 20, 30 years, I think decentralized exchanges will be just as easy to use as a centralized exchange, and then we will just go over to decentralization, full decentralization. But it's going to take time.
Lovely. Alex, you're next. Where do you think we are right now? You know, you trade very actively and you have a very strong trading community. You are an investor as well, but I'm more interested to hear about on the technical aspect of right now. I wouldn't care so much about all the other altcoins so far. On Bitcoin, what is the future looking like at the moment? Start with introducing yourself as well, by the way.
Hi, my name is Alex Mora. I have a YouTube channel called AM Crypto. I'm glad to be here. And my take on the market, especially on Bitcoin right now, is that potentially we have already bottomed out. So on the daily chart, I just checked it this morning, we are heavily overbought there. So there is a correction coming, but the correction could be in form of just some sideways downwards movement. and then actually the final leg up that we are all anticipating, waiting for. And I actually don't believe that this final leg down could actually break the lower low the local lower low that we have right now at $70,000. I think there is not enough downwards pressure left in the market to push us that low.
Awesome. That's a very, very good answer. So, I mean, based on what you said, my understanding is that this dip could keep on going. Right. Okay. DJ15, the Oracle, the Godfather. I mean, who has watched the $1 video here? Okay, a lot of you guys need to do your homework straight up. You know, like you have to watch that one. So, Da Vinci, you are a Bitcoin maxi. And you are as convinced as I watched your video in 2015, 2016, but you're still as convinced as you were at the time. With all what's happening in crypto and the regulatory environment and the birth of altcoins, do you still think, even in a bull market, in a bear market like this, that Bitcoin is really the only one still to go by?
Okay. I would like to point out that I'm not exactly a Bitcoin maxi, sense that, you know, I do have other cryptocurrencies.
Like Shiba, maybe right? Shiba Max as well?
I'm not a Shiba Maxi. I'm just having fun with Shiba. I don't have a whole lot of Shiba. But,
okay.
Yeah, I do believe in other cryptocurrencies, such as Ethereum, but it's not money. And even Vitalik has said, Ethereum's not money. It's just a payment system for using it's a fuel for using their network. And the reason why it's not money is because they can roll back transactions. They can go, well, we don't really like that happening, so we're going to roll it back. We're going to take that money back and move it back to wherever we want. So because of that control they have, it can never really be money. Bitcoin is the best form of money out of all of the cryptocurrencies. Doesn't mean I'm not saying that you should only buy Bitcoin and nothing else. You could buy other assets as well in the crypto space, right? I'm not like Tone Bays. Tone Bays is the official Bitcoin maxi. He has nothing else but Bitcoin.
At least that's what he says. You know, you never know what's his in portfolio.
Oh yeah, I tried to give him some Ethereum, and he just would not take it.
He hates everything else.
Exactly. So yes. I really think that Bitcoin is the best form of money because of a lot of principles, and not just the fact that it has 21 million Bitcoins that will ever be created, and that's a permanent number, right? And you want that in your money supply because you don't want to have your money, your value of your money disappear, like it's have happened everywhere in this world right now. As we try to save any kind of currency, whether it be the local currency that we're living in, or is it the U.S. dollars? It's slowly eroding away our purchasing power over time as gas prices, as food prices, everything continue to go up. That is actually the after effect of all the printing of money, which I talked about early on in 2020 when they started the printing press. I said, hey, in like 12 to 18 months, inflation will be increased by a factor of like 25% a year, and that's what we're seeing right now. This is why we need Bitcoin as money, and it's going to happen. It doesn't matter if it happens a little slow. It's going to happen because it's the best form of money.
Okay, so we're going to move the microphone on the way back here from there. So I'll start with you, Da Vinci. Right now, there's so many people here at different levels of understanding with the technology. Some of them want to invest. Some of them, they're still skeptical. What to expect in the next 2 years? Let's say considering the economic environment across the world, there's inflation, there's recession with potential for a depression as well, could happen. Now, if considered all these things that I've mentioned, what to expect in the next 2 years in the cryptocurrency market?
Starting with me?
Yeah, starting with you and we'll come back.
Well, one person asked me what asset to hold, and I thought about it for a while because we're going through a recession, right? If you don't believe that we're going through a recession, just listen to what the central banks say, right? The central bankers have never, ever said in the history of central banking, yes, we're going into recession soon, shortly. They've never said that. Now they're saying, we're going to go have a mild recession, just like we have mild inflation right now. That's what they said. We're going to have mild inflation like last year. And obviously, it wasn't anything but mild. So we're now going to have a mild recession. So what that really means is that the recession is going to be extremely bad. And so someone asked what to do, what asset to hold. And you know what? The scary thing, it's actual cash, physical cash. Why is that? It's because it allows you to pivot into an asset that will get hit, such as Bitcoin. They have control over the price of Bitcoin, somewhat control over the Bitcoin price. And they're probably going to dump it, right? Once all the market starts to collapse, they're going to crash gold, they're going to crash, because they need to make their currency look good. But that's a trap. That allows people to move into the banking system, which will, then they'll do what's called bail-ins. If you go Google bail-in, you'll see that that's the new institution plan. Instead of bailing out the banks, they're going to bail in the banks. And what that means is whatever money you think you have in a bank, that actually just goes to them and you get nothing or a portion of it. So that is coming in the next 2 years.
Lovely. Alex, what to expect in the next 2 years?
Yeah, I also believe that the inflation will just get worse. So I give you a really good example how inflation is already affecting also Dubai. So when I bought my car last year in September and I went to the gas station, I paid like pretty cheap for a full tank. It was like $60, $60. So for a Ferrari, so it's really cheap. So and in Europe at the time, it would have been already like 200 euros, so it's like $230. Now, when I came back from Thailand to Dubai, I pay now $130 for a full tank. So, oh no, sorry, actually around $100 before it was like $40, $50. So it's like double the price in a country that's famous for producing oil, you know, so where it should be actually stay consistent, cheap, or more or less stable around the same price. But actually there, it also doubled. So, and in the US, you can see it even better. A gallon of gas was last year and before Corona was around $3. Now I have friends in California, they just moved to Dubai, they told me, I saw like $10. They said, no, it's way worse. We have places that's $12, $15 already for a gallon. So and I believe that will just get worse and worse. I can see a gallon for gas in the next 2 years, like $30 in the US. So, and then the next question is, who can afford to pay $30 for a gallon? You know, so in Germany, so I'm originally from Germany, there you see these effects also already, just with the gas prices right now, that logistic companies have to go out of business because they cannot pay for the fuel anymore. So, and the government is not bailing them out. So that means they go all out of business, which also will disrupt then the supply chain, and that makes then also food and everything else more expensive because the companies have to recoup somewhere the fuel. So, and so there's basically a domino effect, and that will just get worse.
Lovely. Carl, same question. What to expect, considering that you're investing in gaming, in exchanges, and so many different things. Now, if we're going to go through a depression or a recession continuously, what to expect, and as an investor, because there's so many other investors also here who are building within the blockchain space, what's your strategy or approach in the next 2 years?
In the next 2 years, I expect crypto to be in a bear market, and the traditional financial markets also will be in a recession. Could even lead into a depression. A depression is inevitable at some point. The question is, will it happen now, or will the central banks be able to print us another 10 years or so? We will see. But regardless, I think it's very important to take money out of the bank, because if you have fiat in the bank, then you are controlled by not only the banks but also the government, and they can rob you through inflation on a daily basis. It's very important to at least keep some assets that are not controllable by those central authorities. So that would be Bitcoin, but can also be gold. But there are other assets out there that you can hold that cannot be printed, or at least they're harder to print. But Bitcoin and gold, I think, are the best ones by far. So at least like 10-20% of your net worth, I think, should be in Bitcoin and gold. Personally, I have all of my liquid net worth in Bitcoin. I don't have gold anymore. I only go with Bitcoin, and this makes me sleep at night. But also, I'm taking big risk because, of course, in the next 1 year, it's possible that Bitcoin goes down 50%. That's why I usually don't recommend that you go all in. It's better to dollar cost average, like this guy right there, DCA. I see your shirt, DCA. Dollar cost average. You buy weekly or monthly or daily, it doesn't really matter, but that's very important in my opinion, into Bitcoin. But in certain countries, I think even gold can be a good idea because it's liquid. There's always a buyer for Bitcoin and gold, even watches actually. But yeah, stay away from fiat. That's the bottom line.
Right. Awesome. Kwame, so you understand specifically the West African region really well. You know how Bitcoin is used and the perception of it and the financial realities or the economic realities here at scale. What does the next 2 years look like? What should the people do?
Okay. So I think just like my other panelists have said, it's a bit of a conundrum to try and put a finger on it because nobody knows what's really going to happen. So specifically to what we should do personally, full disclaimer on behalf of everybody, not financial advice, anything we're talking about here. We're just telling you what we're doing. This is for entertainment and informational purposes. Thank you. So this is what I am doing. The truth is nobody really knows the bottom, right? If you remember when we hit 69K, a lot of pro traders said we're headed to the 75, 80K region. And then Russia, Ukraine happened, and then it became a tumbling cascade of things. So I think the first thing you should do is, first off, this is not the season to be looking for the next Shiba. Stay away from meme coins, shit coins that don't have utility. Stay far away from that. In fact, you heard Carl say he's just playing safe with Bitcoin, and he can sleep at night. I'm a little bit more, my risk appetite is a little bit higher. I'm an altcoin type of person. So I've been looking at the top 100, top 50 projects, looking at the ones who have still been delivering value, which is still working as a business. Are they earning revenue? Are they growing? Are they delivering on their product promises? This, again, is for everybody to understand the biggest opportunity for you to make life-changing wealth is in the midst of the chaos. So as everybody predicts that in the next 2 years it can get crazy, that is also the season where you could make life-changing wealth. Just don't think short-term. Don't put your rent in it. Don't put your school fees. Let me just say, don't put your rent, don't put your school fees. Don't sell the family land and put the money and tell uncle you bring it in December. You'll be shocked. But if you have money that you don't mind losing and you have the 5, 4, 3-year patience for it, then the next cycle will make you very, very happy. We're in that part of the market where $10 can do something 3 years from now. I promise you. I've seen it before. Who has been in a bull market before, by the way? Bull market. Can you tell them it feels like magic money? So they can have patience. So that's what I'm doing. High value altcoins, but I'm playing my BTC Ethereum DCA strategy for the very long term. Yeah.
Lovely. So before we get into questions, I just want to add to, exactly, yeah. I just want to add to that and say, so the way you can counter a recession or bear market is pretty much to be aggressive. But what people do, they cower against it. So it's like, okay, the economic environment is not good. They don't invest. They sit outside. Fear gets hold of them, and they start selling their assets. When the bull market comes, that's when they get excited and start putting money again, and they buy Bitcoin at $55,000. Okay, and then it goes down to 40K. They start selling. It goes to 25K. They sell even more, and and on and on. So right now, it's a good time to be aggressive and invest. Maybe not only just Bitcoin, right? Like across different asset classes if you have to. Right now is an incredible opportunity because at least you're certain that you're not buying the top. That's for sure. So if anyone here has any question, you can raise your hand and you can ask a question to any one of us here. And there should be, yeah, I think we can hear you from there. This gentleman here was first. You can go, sir.
Okay, good day, everyone. Good day to the host. Thank you for this amazing session. Now, I have 2 questions. My first question will be, is this the best time to continue building? I mean, building on the crypto project, building communities. That would be my first question. And my second question is, I have this kind of, I wouldn't want to call it a hope, but I am kind of convinced that I will still have a bull season. So at what point should we start to look to investing or to considering new projects in the bull season? Should it be when Bitcoin is at its all-time high, or should it be in the middle of the road to get the best possible result out of it? So those
Right.
are my questions. Thanks.
I think I'll give that one to Alex over here. Yeah, so he's
Yeah.
asking, yeah, you got the question.
Yeah, I heard the questions. So historically, it has shown that bear markets actually the best moments to build, because if a project can persevere in a bear market, then it will most likely also do pretty well in a bull market. So building communities, building projects like quality projects in a bear market is not a bad idea. I have actually a own project that I'm building right now in the bear market. Carl, I know, has also several projects that he's working on during the bear market. So we actually like building things in the bear market. And when it comes to investing into other blockchain layers, also here historically, the best moment to get in is not obviously at the top, you know, when we are like at the previous top and we go higher. So actually close or just after the next halving. So when we start to get into this new bull cycle, that is historically also shown that is the best moment to dollar cost average into different projects.
Okay, I hope your question was answered there. There was another question here. Somewhere, yes, you. Raise your voice a little.
Thank you very much for this
Nice.
enlightenment of blockchain. My question goes to Mr. Da Vinci here. What gave you the assurance in 2011 to put $1 in cryptocurrency? And then what is the best strategy to identify the best crypto project to invest in?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, what gave me confidence in getting into Bitcoin is because, well, I tried to create Bitcoin earlier on when I understood that our monetary system was a big fraud perpetrated against the whole world all at the same time for the first time ever in human history. Normally, like, it was only pockets of different countries that would have a fiat system and not the whole world. And so what happens is you have to look at history. What happens when this system comes to an end? Because it always comes to an end, and it comes to an end very badly. And so I decided to try and make the same kind of system. I actually ended up failing, but that knowledge that I gained made me realize that, hey, this was going to work when I first saw the source code and saw the white paper. And I was so excited about it because finally we have something that that's going to change the world in a positive way. Now, if you're looking for other projects to invest in, the best thing to look for is basically who's in the project, who's working with the project, right? Then does it make sense? Is it something that you understand? That's the first thing. So a lot of people bring me projects that they don't understand, and they want me to understand it and explain it to them. And I said, right there proves that the project's garbage. If they can't explain it to you, don't invest. If they can't explain it to you in 30 seconds, it's not worth you investing in. But if they can explain it to you in 30 seconds and it makes sense to you, then yeah, you can go on to look at the team, look at the the tokenomics, make sure that it makes sense, right? All the rest of it makes sense to you. And if it does, then that's the best way to determine whether or not to invest in something.
Some time ago, about 2 years ago, I bought Bitcoin. and I had almost 80% of my portfolio in Bitcoin. And lo and behold, that period my wife was pregnant. You know, in fact, in short, I lost almost up to $5,000 on an instant. Okay, so why am I saying this? Since then, I lost interest in trading. I don't like trading again. I decided to focus on building as a developer. So my question is this: Carl mentioned that he was a convenient buy Bitcoin, and considering the fact that Bitcoin is very volatile, and in its blink of an eye, how do you think Bitcoin is a store of value? How do you store your money in Bitcoin when you know that overnight everything can just go into zero? How are you so convenient? There is no stable because Bitcoin is not like Ethereum. How are you so convenient with this? Thank you.
All right. Come in.
Okay, I'll take that one. Yeah, a lot of people, when they invest in Bitcoin, they take everything they've got and invest in Bitcoin. When I first got into Bitcoin, I didn't take everything and dump everything into Bitcoin. I went 2% of my total investing portfolio. Right? That was for my retirement, 2% of my retirement money. So I knew I didn't need that money for, my children, or for, the rent, or for anything in the foreseeable future. And that is what you should be putting into Bitcoin, what you plan to retire with. Because if you do that, or put in a percentage, just 2% of your net worth, I'd raise it to 5%, because I am confident that Bitcoin will be the money. That the odds of it not being the money is the same odds as if an asteroid come and hit the planet and wipe us all out. Still possible, but unlikely, right, in your lifetime. So, yeah, you could raise it to like 5%, and just make sure it's the only 5% of what you plan to use for your retirement, right? And then you'll do extremely well, because you'll see it over time increase. Because you know what, in 5 years, if you just watch it over a 5-year period, any 5-year period, you take Bitcoin, you bought it 5 years ago, you're in profit. Even today, if you bought Bitcoin 5 years ago, yes, you're in profit. Yes, that was in 2017. But Da Vinci, it was $17,000. And that was December of 2017. Around this time, it was less than $2,000. So, yes, there you have it. You are majorly in profit 5 years if you bought it 5 years ago. And you'll do that. So if you buy it today and you wait 5 years, you'll be majorly in profit. And that's assuming, remember, just ignore all the ups and downs of craziness, because that's what I did. I bought it at $1. I bought it at $2, $3, $4, $5, even at $32. That was the high in 2011. And then it crashed all the way down to $2. And then people were laughing at me, saying how stupid you were to buy Bitcoin, to mine Bitcoin, to waste your time with Bitcoin, and because now it's $2. But I didn't care. I knew that what it was going to do. And that's why I stuck with it. And that's all you have to do, is understand why it's going to stay and stick with it.
Right. So he said, perfect answer. It's all about the why. If you understand why you're doing it, and you always have to have the time frame in mind of why you're doing it. But at the same time, if we look at Bitcoin just based on the price action as investors, I think we're missing the bigger picture of it. Because in a country like this, like Nigeria, where people cannot even use their own money to pay for services online because the bank keeps limits on it, there is no easy way to do e-commerce and make money. I mean, this has nothing to do with the price action of Bitcoin. Like, there is so many other things that we can use Bitcoin for to grow to empower ourselves economically and financially, right? So I think that element of it should not be overlooked. The business element of it, obviously investment is cool. But if you're trying to make money, I think you have to look at how can you use Bitcoin to attract money to you. I mean, if you compare this, with how the banks work, it's so difficult for you to start a business online and get paid in Nigeria. But with Bitcoin, you can do it within 5 minutes. No need to sign forms and papers or answer questions. For me, I was earning $300 per month, 8 years ago, before I came across Bitcoin. And I had skills, I could work, but I was sort of limited to my environment where I could offer my services. The moment I came across Bitcoin, my income in the same month moved from $300 to $2,500, right? That is how I realized that, okay, this is a big deal because I could be able to make money from all around the world. Anyway, next question.
Hi guys, it's awesome to be here with you guys, and I'm glad to see you guys on stage. I have a question for Carl in particular. Carl, you mentioned something about Bitcoin. You see a recession happening 2 years from now, and my mind just flashed to the fact that next year is the next Bitcoin halving. And after Bitcoin halving occurs, it's usually accompanied by a bull run. So I just wanted to understand why you said that particular thing you said, why you brought that point out. Thank you very much.
First of all, I think the traditional markets and Bitcoin are only correlated in the short term. So even if we see a prolonged session for multiple years, I don't think that stops Bitcoin from going into another bull cycle. Bitcoin is still most likely going to get another bull cycle after the next halving, just like every single halving for it, because the halving is such an important event. It's decreasing the inflation rate of Bitcoin by half. So it's a supply shock. And it's just built in the fundamentals of Bitcoin, and you cannot change it. And so far, without any fail, that has led to a big increase in price. So, but yeah, we have to wait for that. It will take a long time. I mean, it's a couple of years now to wait until the next bull cycle can start, I think, in Bitcoin. And this is the time to accumulate and the time to build. I am currently building like crazy. First of all, you know that I have Casta. It's one of my companies. We're building like never before. And we're still hiring people. We think this is the opportunity to take over the market and take market share. Many of the companies, they stop working, they stop building, they stop hiring. That's when we double down, basically. That's the case with Casta. I have a couple of other companies as well that I'm a co-founder of. And yeah, I'm betting very, very heavily on the bear market. The previous bear market, that's when I built my wealth. I planted many seeds, and I think that's very important. You plant a seed, and then it takes time for the seed to become a tree. You cannot just plant a seed and expect the tree to grow in 2 weeks. If you do see a tree grow in 2 weeks, then something is wrong. The root system will be bad, and the tree will just fall. Just like the bull market now, people jump in at 70K Bitcoin, and they think that they're gonna be wealthy, but actually it doesn't work like that. Plant seeds in the bear market, build business, create cash flow, and in the next bull market, all of those trees that bloom, you can reap the rewards. You can harvest your profits. So basically, the wealth is made in the bear market, not in the bull market. And here you go, bear market. You're welcome. Start investing. Start building. It's your choice.
I want to say that I want to meet you, Mr. Gray, our teacher in Crypto University. So I'm part of the Crypto University.
Awesome. Awesome.
So everybody's talking about the Bitcoin, when it's the nearest bull run of Bitcoin. But actually, I'm new in crypto. I find metaverse more interesting. So I want to ask, what do you think about the future in metaverse also?
Sorry, come again?
I want you to tell me what you think about the future in metaverse, for the metaverse.
The metaverse.
Yeah. The metaverse.
Okay, what's the future?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, the audio is a little bit confusing. So, the metaverse sort of came through as oh, by the way, who else is in Crypto University here? Damn, it's a lot of people. Shout out to Crypto University here. So the metaverse is an interesting concept. Just like whenever a new element of crypto, a new sector is built within crypto, it takes more than one bull cycle to make it. So if you look at the metaverse and all the activities, sort of died. I mean, they started at sort of at the end of the bull cycle, and that sets the trend of what more entrepreneurs and developers are going to be working on. So if you look at what's being built now, it's a lot more metaverse projects in gaming, in play to earn, a lot of metaverse stuff. And I think this is still going to drive the next bull market. However, there's a lot of noise because it is going to be the alpha. Everyone knows it's going to be DAOs and metaverse. But it's so difficult, obviously, to identify which ones are worthwhile. But if you find them, this is the perfect time to invest in the metaverse when they're being built. Almost like I saw an article the other day that more than 4 projects that are being built in crypto, they have metaverse elements, similar to what happened in DeFi. It actually started at the end of the cycle of 2017, but it became more prominent on the last. It actually started the bull market in 2020. So I think the future of the metaverse is incredible. Even Carl here has a lot of invested in the gaming and in the play to earn ecosystem because that is definitely the next trend. Sure, thanks. Next question, to the guy, to the green guy over there.
Alex, the first question goes to you. So on your Telegram channel, I mentioned something about what CZ said about Bitcoin. He said that it usually has a 2-year bull run, 2-year bear run. So me, I believe in what he said because of how much he has studied about Bitcoin, because he has been in Bitcoin since for a long time. He studied the white paper of Satoshi Nakamoto, 9 pages long. Like that was back in 2013, 2014. And so the kind of conviction he had that he sold all his properties, everything he had, just to buy Bitcoin is really motivating. So I want to know, what do you think? Do you think CZ is right when he says that Bitcoin is going to have a 2-year bear run and 2-year bull run?
So we could definitely be in a 2-year bear market, but that doesn't mean possibly that Bitcoin has to stay at the prices where we are right now. So Bitcoin could actually go up into a range of $30,000, $40,000 and just go sideways there for over a year. So, and people would still consider this as a bear market unless Bitcoin breaks over 60,000 and scratches on the all-time high. Because normally we get out of a bear market when either the hash ribbons on the weekly chart are signaling a buy signal. So that is one indication from the past. So, and the other one is when we get closer to the next halving. So, and we are experiencing a bear market where the Bitcoin price is undervalued, also from a miner's perspective, because they have to cover costs, so to keep the mining rigs running. So, and when the Bitcoin value is under their production cost, so then it's also considered that we are in a bear market. So right now we are slightly over the production costs. So, but because Bitcoin is such at a low price and staying there for quite a while and looking quite fragile, people are saying we are technical in a bear market. So yes, we can stay for like 2 years in a bear market, but it doesn't mean that the price has also to stay in these low ranges that we are in right now.
Okay, I also have another question. This one goes to Da Vinci. So, Mr. Da Vinci, Jeremy, the countries that adopted crypto, Bitcoin as a legal tender, El Salvador and the first African country, which is Central African Republic. What do you think? Is it the right thing to do, adopting it as their legal tender?
Well, I honestly, I don't think it's the right thing to do. If you understand how our financial system completely works and how the United States has a stranglehold on countries that don't follow their rules, it really is a bad idea. because we saw what happened to Iraq when they decided to go and switch to euros from the dollar. You saw what happened to Lebanon when it tried to create a gold currency. It's not a good idea for a country at this time to switch to Bitcoin. Besides, there isn't enough liquidity, and the prices are not that stable for it to be legal tender. It's fine to say, okay, well, your companies and stuff like that can accept Bitcoin if they want to. They don't have to. It's not a forced thing, right? But to actually go out and say this is legal tender and make it official, it's really bad for that country. And they won't get any loans from the IMF. Not that you would want that anyways, right? But because they when you get a loan from an IMF, they actually take part of your country's infrastructure when you can't pay it back, because they make sure that you can't pay it back, right? So yeah, I really think that it's too early for countries to switch to Bitcoin as legal tender. Maybe when it's like I would say around the $5 to $10 trillion market cap, then they can actually start considering it or actually moving towards it, because then there's sufficient liquidity to actually do like transactions around the world, basically, to other countries and so forth. So it makes sense, and it's coming. It will come, because the more pressure they put on Russia, the more chances that they are going to switch to Bitcoin. Now, you might hate Russia and hate Russians, but most people there, they don't really care about what Putin's doing. They can't change it. They have to support it because they lived with Stalin. Stalin killed anybody who was against him. So they're used to that. And so, yeah, those people deserve to have financial freedom too. So they're not controlling their government. The majority of the people there do not control their government.
Awesome. Thank you, Da Vinci. So before we close, last one-liners. You only have 30 seconds to answer this question. Alex, what is your price prediction for Bitcoin at the end of the year? And Carl, when is Castor coming to Nigeria? And Kwame, as well, your prediction for Bitcoin at the end of the year. Let's start there, Alex.
So I believe Bitcoin could be trading back around $50,000 by end of the year. So I think that's quite likable.
Okay.
With the Castor, we are hoping to be live globally as soon as possible. Nigeria specifically, very hard to tell because we're starting with Europe, but our mission is that every single person in the whole world will be Castor to spend crypto instant and free. So coming very soon.
Price prediction end of year, I have no idea. I'm riding it. But I tend to lean towards what Alice said. Wouldn't be crazy to see it around the 40, 45, 50K around this time.
So very bullish on both of them, which is a very good point to end this discussion. So thank you, all the panelists here, and thank you guys for asking the question. I wish we had more time, but obviously there is a program that needs to be expanded on. So thank you guys for listening, and to the moon.
Ladies and gentlemen, with a standing ovation, can we give that applause and make it louder? Come on! It's Blockchain Vibes Lagos 2022. A round of applause for this gentleman that came all the way. Okay, so media team, this is the opportunity we're looking for. Please, all the speakers come together. We want to have a picture. Thanks to God, COVID is over. No social distancing, thank you. Please join the picture, thank you. Let's have that group photograph now. All the speakers sitting down, please come up and join this photograph. Yeah, that's the vibe. This vibe happens only in Lagos State, Nigeria. Yeah. hold on. Mr. Franklin, I want you in the middle here. Let's control it. Thank you. All the handshakes, all the live videos, thank you very much, but we don't have time, so let's control it. I want you in the middle. Gray, please come forward. Please, all the speakers that just finished speaking on stage, I want them next to Franklin, please, sir. Just a little, just, yeah, please come. Sir, please come. Sir, please come. Sir, please come. Come forward, please. Sorry, sir. I want him here. Yes, please. Okay, Mr. Han, please this way. I want you here. Okay, here, by Kwame. Yes. Ghana has to be close to Asia. Yes. Please come closer. Come closer. Okay. So if you are taller, you can go behind so we get you. All right. So you're really tall, so please come here. Come here. Come here. Just here. Yes, these people are, yes, very, very good. Camera guys, are we good? Let's have that shot. Thank you. Okay, one minute more. Yes, thank you very much. You can now exit the stage. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. A round of applause for the speakers and moderators of the last panel session. Thank you so much. Mr. Han, we're done. Thank you.